Hi, this is BGA, and I just want to do a quick video. Sorry I haven't been doing videos. I've been having some family issues. My father passed away a few weeks ago, so I've been doing a lot of traveling, and yeah. So I haven't really had time to do videos or things like that, but I did want to touch on something that's made a huge impact in my life and I think could benefit a lot of YouTube viewers. A lot of media coverage now has been given to electronic cigarettes. Are they safe? Are they not safe? Well, let's put it this way. They're certainly safer than traditional analog cigarettes. Do smoking alternatives still give you nicotine, which is a stimulant like caffeine, which can lead to heart disease, high blood pressure, etc.? Yeah. But your dominant worries, your cancers, your secondhand smoke, you're not being able to smoke indoors, well, that's coming under fire, but a lot of that can be resolved by the use of an electronic cigarette. So I was someone who loved smoking cigarettes. I smoked Pall Malls, Camel Unfiltereds, Newport 100s. I was probably like a 2-pack a day smoker. When I got into graduate school, my smoking only got worse. I thought it would get better, but it was like even people who didn't smoke pre-grad school started smoking, and yeah. So anyway, I've been smoking pretty much since the age of 9. I've been smoking cigars, and throughout my life, cigars, pipes, cigarettes, anything you can imagine. So finally, between the cost of cigarettes in Chicago at almost $12 a pack, the fact that my local store that I often walk to is a CVS, and CVS's, if you haven't heard, they've banned the sale of tobacco products. My electronic cigarette usage has skyrocketed. When I first started smoking electronic cigarettes, I did what most people did, and I bought a cigalike kit. The one I ended up choosing was from V2Cigs. I'm not trying to make a super long video. If you want to watch a more of a review on that, just do a YouTube search for V2Cigs, and your basic V2Cig is a tiny battery. This one right here happens to be a manual, but they also have automatic ones that sense when you're taking a puff. When I first got into it, V2 was not selling cartridges. These are called cartomizers. There's basically, so that battery applies current to a coil in the base of this cartridge, and there's cotton in here that soaks up the nicotine, or if you're not using nicotine, whatever e-juice that you have. But you usually, if you're using something like this, you're using it to stop smoking, so there usually will be some level of nicotine. If you're concerned about the strength, 18 milligram solution, is pretty much the gold standard for people who smoked traditional analog cigarettes. I smoked unfiltered cigarettes, pipes, cigars, etc. So even till this day, I get 24 milligram juice. The drawbacks of that, the main drawback of that is that the higher the nicotine level, the less of the flavor. A lot of these have great flavors. You can get everything from peppermint to cotton candy to spearmint, menthol, pina colada. I mean, you name it. And if it's not out there, there are e-juice labs that will, for a very small fee, make you your own customized juice depending on what you like. So I started with this. The problem with this, like I said, the first thing, the cartomizers originally only came pre-filled. So a cartomizer was supposed to be the equivalent of a pack of cigarettes for one cartomizer. I didn't think so. Some cartomizers came in faulty. Batteries came in faulty. As far as I know, all of the cigalike type batteries are made in one area, one plant. You've got companies like V2 that have hyped up marketing, blue cigarettes, disposable, anyway. So that's V2. You can get a nice little starter kit that comes with some cartridges. They now allow you to refill the cartridges. I won't get too into that with these. I mean, there's always been a way to, but now they're making it easier for people to refill their own cartridges because they've kind of had to keep up with the industry. But a lot of the batteries didn't work. They wouldn't maintain power. I was able to stop smoking traditional cigarettes with that system for a few months, and then once all of my batteries died at once and I ran out of cartridges, just went right back to smoking traditional cigarettes, analog cigarettes. That batteries are completely self-contained. Once the battery's done, you throw out the whole thing. You recharge it with this USB wall socket plug that comes with your V2 starter kit. You can unplug the USB, plug it into your computer. There's also a car adapter that comes with one of the starter kits. I really haven't been following V2. I know that they now sell their proprietary juices, which were never really outstanding, but you can now at least buy them in bulk and refill your own cartridges. So anyway, okay, we're 10 minutes, maybe a 20-minute video. Step up from the V2 or the Ego Twist style batteries. This is also a self-contained battery. So once the battery's used up, after a couple months of continuous use, and you notice degraded performance, you do toss this entire thing. And there is a special charger for that. I'm not going to waste time showing that, but you do charge them one at a time. The twist, the Ego Twist, this particular model is called the Vision Spinner 2, allows you to adjust the voltage. Some units allow you to adjust wattage, some units allow you to adjust voltage. One, right off the bat, advantage you see, that is one entire battery right there. So it's going to last a lot longer than the V2s. And then you buy this tank separately. This tank right here is a Kangertech Mini Pro Tank 3. It's a great tiny little tank to fit on here. There is no adjustable airflow, but I'm fine with the airflow. It's pretty easy to refill. There's plenty of reviews on it online. And just to give, I'm vaping. I usually leave this at around 3.8 to vape the current juice that's in it, and that's all personal preference. So yeah, you get great vapor, and that was with a slight throat hit. So you get great vapor. This is like a half-dead battery, and but you still get great vapor from this. I have like 4 or 5 of these batteries. Got a nice little case that holds a couple batteries, a couple different flavored juices, and that's really all you ever need. If you want, just like any other hobby or any other activity, people always find ways of going crazy with it, and the sky's the limit to how much you can spend. So just to give you an idea, the next step up from that is a Pro body. I do have the extended end cap. You can unscrew this and swap out batteries, the 18650 batteries, not just any 18650 on this particular mod, but anyway, that's not for this video. And then you get like a separate charger. This particular one holds 4. It has an LCD. It tells me battery voltage, and it more maintains the battery. There's a 510 connector in here, but you would need a special adapter if you wanted to use like that Kanger Pro Tank 3 Mini on it. So for this one, I have the Nautilus Aspire tank, which is a much larger tank, holds a ton of juice. I do have a glass piece that replaces this. You can get you can get covers for the glass. I know about how much this holds, how long it lasts me, even by the weight I can feel it. So if this unit drops, I mean, I'm not going to say it's indestructible, but there's a pretty good chance that it's not going to shatter as a glass tank would. It's not the smallest thing, so normally, like, I wear a suit to work, so I'll normally keep this in my suit pocket, and I can, you know, usually use this at work, and then I might use this at home or in the car. But the Provari, it's often referred to as like the Rolls-Royce of personal vaporizers. It kind of set the benchmark. I can't complain. It's so far worked great. It comes in a variety of sizes, colors, etc. If you don't like any of the stock colors, you can get wraps, you can get custom wraps, etc. So all that information is on the Pro Vape website, or reviews on YouTube specific to the Provari. Another popular mod is the iTaste 134. This is not the mini, this is the full size. Comes in a great box. You've got a user manual, warranty card, all sorts of stuff. You've got a beauty ring here, so you can put different size fittings on there. This is a variable wattage unit, so I normally leave it set to around 9. If you want to see it turn on, just press this button 3 times, and that button also tells you where your battery level is, if there's errors, etc. You unscrew the bottom. This is where your battery comes out. Right here is a Sony IMR 18650. One thing I should probably note, a few of you are probably saying, well, I've read on the news recently that electronic cigarettes can explode. Well, first of all, any battery can explode. If you've looked at laptops throughout history, there have been occasional cases of explosions, etc. Basically, if a battery isn't vented, so if there's no holes down here, some people have made homemade versions of these and didn't really follow the safety precautions, and yeah, accidents happen and the media flocks to that. So that's all I'm going to say about that. If you get a safe battery, a variable voltage or a variable wattage vaporizer to start, you kind of just do a little bit of research to make sure that the tank that you plan to put on it is compatible with it as far as ohms. A lot of the electronic units, like I just showed you, they usually have an internal circuit board that will detect shorts, detect resistance from the tank, etc. But it's always better to be safe. Now, all these tanks, there are replacement coils available for them, which you can usually buy in like a pack of 5. Some, like serious connoisseurs, they say that they change their tank out every week. Other people every 2 weeks. Honestly, I've been using this over a month. I haven't found any reason to change the coil, but someday down the line it just might burn up. I may accidentally run this low and burn a dry coil, so it's always good to have them on hand. Once you start going into the tanks, like the Kanger Pro Tank Mini 3, or on my Provari, I have the Nautilus Aspire, which allows you to also adjust the air control, which is nice. You can select the draw that you like. Once you start getting into that range, you can use pretty much any e-juice that you can buy online or in stores. If you're a former menthol smoker, I highly recommend Halo Purity Sub-Zero and Menthol Ice. Those are 2 of my favorites as like a menthol substitute. The Vision spinners comes in a variety of colors. I think I have a gold one here. If you buy them online, they're pretty cheap. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, chargers. Get a good charger with an LCD readout, even if you don't understand what it all means right now. If you're planning on staying in the hobby, you will. This is the first charger I ever got, just a Trustfire charger, and it just has like one charge light at the bottom to say if it's on. Now, all these chargers, you'll notice, have spring-loaded terminals for the negative pole on the battery, or on the cell, battery, whatever you'd like to call it. So you can use them with you can use these chargers with everything from, for example, my 4-post, anything from a 16-340 up to a 26-650. So yeah, and you can adjust the charging level, and they'll also maintain the batteries for you, kind of like how a sports car, if you don't drive the car all the time, you plug it into a battery maintainer, not just a charger, because a charger can overcharge, cause problems, etc. So, the chargers aren't that expensive, especially compared to everything else. So invest in a somewhat high quality charger. They have, I showed you the one that holds 4 batteries. That same brand also makes one that holds 2. Comes with a car adapter for your cigarette lighter to charge. Now, just something real quick: if you are smoking dry tobacco, if your plan is to smoke dry tobacco leaves, or if you're in a state or something that allows you to smoke other herbs, there are tanks. Let's just keep calling it the same thing. For example, this is the Yokan Mac, and basically you've got your coil down here, and then you would just put your dried tobacco leaves ground up in there, and you've got like a tamper here. It really doesn't work that well, and it still combusts. It's not a true vaporizer. So if you're considering this over like a PAX or something like that, no, it's not going to do the same thing. They do make adapters that will vaporize a little bit better. I may experiment with those in the future, but this is where I am right now. I have never tried a wax or an oil, but I figured I might as well while I was getting all the accessories. This is the Yokan Exgo 2. This is a product to smoke concentrate, so oil, wax, etc., or to vaporize. So anyway, if you were to ask, alright, so it's still under 30 minutes. If you were to ask me, out of all these, what's my favorite for smoking cessation, the V2 worked great at first. I was even so sensitive that I didn't even like the manual V2 batteries where you had to push the button. I wanted it to be as much like a real cigarette as possible. Once that kind of stopped working, wasn't really economical, etc., I upgraded to the Vision Spinner 2 and basically haven't looked back. I mean, this is a pretty discreet unit. It's not as ostentatious or whatever as like the iTaste 134, which I've gotten mixed comments on. The Provari, while it's extremely well built, somewhat of a heavier unit. Wouldn't really recommend carrying it around all day. But the Vision Spinner 2 certainly has enough battery juice to get you through a day or two of vaping. And even with this mini Pro Tank 3 by Kangertech, you've got enough juice in there to last you quite some time. And you can always carry extra juice, so pretty much between this and this, you could be set up for a weekend trip, etc., where with the V2 you would be carrying over 10 batteries, Lord knows how many cartomizers, etc. So basically the goal of this video, when I first got into vaporizers after the initial intro cigalikes Groupon deal, v2cigs.com, Blue, etc., I was completely lost. So and there really aren't a ton of great videos for beginners on the subject. There's a lot of great reviews on the products, but if you don't understand the basics of electricity, you know, why certain batteries are better than others, etc., it's kind of like a wild goose chase. So I tried to condense all of what I learned in a couple weeks into one video to kind of jumpstart you. I'm no way an expert. I've never rebuilt a coil, built my own coil, you know, etc. I do understand, you know, I learn more every day. I mean, the Provari on the LCD will give you a atomizer resistance level, so, and if it won't work with it, it just won't work. There is a step above everything I've shown you here, which are mechanical mods, which are sometimes extremely pretty, extremely expensive. The newer ones do vent in case of emergency. You're not gonna, you most likely won't have a exploding battery. It might be hot. You may have to sit it over to the side, that battery, but might be finished. But your actual device itself is fine, because there's no electronics in it whatsoever. So someday I might pick one up, but right now I'm just kind of happy with the collection I have here, and I'm finding that I'm able to use it less and less. I don't hold this like a cigarette, how I did the V2. It's got a push button, so it's almost like taking me away from cigarettes, which is nice. You can also slowly decrease the strength of the juice that you use in these. So I know it's not marketed as a smoking cessation device, but you know, if you start at 18, you can slowly drop that down. and eventually get to a point where you have where you have a great tasting substance, essence, oil, whatever you want to call it, and you're just vaporizing that oil while you, for example, me, I like to write papers and have something in my hand. So yeah, so that's the review. Feel free to post questions, but like I said, I'm not an expert, so, but if you want, clarification of any of the items I've shown you, if you want me to, send you some links to where I found great stuff, that there's great videos on YouTube. Like I said, not a lot for the true beginner, which is kind of why I did this, kind of taking you from the standard electronic cigarette that you may see at a convenience store up to a higher quality, and then up to your highest quality, and best overall experience. It just depends if you want to make it into a hobby, or if you're simply trying to stop smoking. For me, it was kind of both. I kind of said to myself, for every carton of cigarettes that I'm saving, I can go out and buy another tank, sometimes not the Pro Vari, but maybe for the price of a carton, I could get a couple more spinner tube batteries or ego twists, so at least you're not just burning money. You have something to show for it. Your clothes don't smell. I've never had a situation, even on an airplane, where I've been called out for using an electronic cigarette. I know there are some places that are cracking down. I think mostly because other people in the establishment don't understand what they are. They see something that looks like a cigarette, they think somebody's smoking. They may have heard horror stories about the batteries exploding, etc. So I hope this was somewhat helpful. I do want to strongly caution you, stay away from Chantix. I work with a lot of psychiatry and psychology patients. Chantix has a lot of negative mental health side effects, so it's not a great smoking cessation drug. The lozenges are pretty tasteless and leave like a chalky film, sore stomach, sore throat. The gum, kind of the same deal. With this, as of right now, let's hope we're still free to vape. I've never seen someone go from being a non-smoker into a vaporizer. There are 0 milligram nicotine strength formulas out there, so you can slowly decrease the strength. There are mods, batteries, etc., whatever term you want to call it, that will have a hit counter, so it'll tell you how many times you've puffed on it through that day. Cause I haven't really played with those, so I don't know exactly how they work, but there's endless options, so feel free to use me as a resource. A lot of the other links on YouTube as resources. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about improving your health and your quality of life and the quality of life of those are around you. You know, I think one of the great things when you stop smoking cigarettes is when your sense of smell and taste comes back. You know, even though you're still using nicotine, which is what kept you going back to cigarettes, nicotine is not one of the more harmful ingredients in cigarettes. Not any, you know, not the cancer causing. So, yeah. The Vape On, there's some great channels to check out on YouTube. If you just want to go out and buy the best of the best right now, I would say overall it's the Provari. The iTaste 134 has a really neat look, really neat packaging. But just for a great product, you really can't beat this. The batteries online are like 20 some bucks. You might spend another 20 for the head, and then like a 5-pack of cartridges is of coils is a couple bucks. And I've been using this for about a month, and I haven't found a need to change the coil. I might do it just to see what the difference is. But yeah. So hope this was somewhat helpful, and feel free to leave comments. Thank you so much. Hi, this is BGA, and I just want to do a quick video. Sorry I haven't been doing videos. I've been having some family issues. My father passed away a few weeks ago, so I've been doing a lot of traveling, and yeah, so I haven't really had time to do videos or things like that. But I did want to touch on something that's made a huge impact in my life, and I think could benefit a lot of YouTube viewers. A lot of media coverage now has been given to electronic cigarettes. When I first started smoking electronic cigarettes, I did what most people did, and I bought a cigalike kit. The one I ended up choosing was from V2Cigs. I'm not trying to make a super long video. If you want to watch a more of a review on that, just do a YouTube search for V2Cigs, and your basic V2Cig is a tiny battery. This one right here happens to be a manual, but they also have automatic ones that sense when you're taking a puff. When I first got into it, V2, are they safe? Are they not safe? Well, let's put it this way. They're certainly safer than traditional analog cigarettes. Do smoking alternatives still give you nicotine, which is a stimulant like caffeine, which can lead to heart disease, you know, high blood pressure, etc.? Yeah. But your dominant worries, your cancers, your secondhand smoke, your not being able to smoke indoors, well, that's coming up. I've been smoking cigars, and throughout my life, cigars, pipes, cigarettes, anything you can imagine. So, finally, between the cost of cigarettes in Chicago at almost $12 a pack, the fact that my local store that I often walk to is a CVS, and CVS's, if you haven't heard, they've banned the sale of tobacco products. My electronic cigarette usage has skyrocketed under fire, but a lot of that can be resolved by the use of an electronic cigarette. So I was someone who loved smoking cigarettes. I smoked Pall Malls, Camel Unfiltereds, Newport 100s. I was probably like a 2-pack a day smoker. When I got into graduate school, my smoking only got worse. I thought it would get better, but it was like even people who didn't smoke pre-grad school started smoking, and yeah. So anyway, I've been smoking pretty much since the age of 9.